win, like Roddy said. GuMiho doesn't just need a win, he needs to win big, and he's just, you know, got to beat Rogue to do it.
Yep, he needs a 2-0, and this man, of course, he's our reigning champion of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, absolutely needs to win here as well. In the left top side of King's Cove, it is Rogue.
Calm, cool, and collected. Lower right-hand side, it's the sweaty Terran himself, GuMiho.
It's King's Cove again, Jeff. I'm really happy that you just displayed that important alley over here on the left side of GuMiho's base. Those attack paths do matter. Yeah. They can have a
It does. I mean, if you can crack into that third, if you have kind of a two-pronged force, and you push your way up towards that natural, Kevin, oftentimes I like to call that the path to success. You get down that shaft, get into the natural, find yourself a win.
Okay. Well, Rogue is opening up with a gas and a spawning pool. GuMiho on the other end is once again, just like he did against Zero on this map, going for that command center first. Now, Rogue does seem like he wants to expand, but there's a chance that he's going to open up with a couple of links very early on. Maybe try to be annoying, even stall that CC, but I highly doubt that's going to be possible because this map is actually very big. We'll see. Is Rogue going to be very aggressive here as well, Jeff?
You know, it's kind of an interesting question, right? Because normally sometimes you would look at that and say, well, it's got to be some kind of anti-cheese. But when I think of GuMiho, I can't think of a single time I've ever seen him proxy racks. He very rarely goes bio, if ever. I'm just being safe right now. He's kind of a mech, battle mech type of mid-game player. So if there's not a plan for this, if that speed is not for something in the early to very early mid-game, kind of question it, Roddy. It's a little bit interesting for me.
Yep, we'll see. Obviously, there is quite some pressure on Rogue now. He looked good in the CVT that he played against Innovation. I mean, that game on Cyberforest, I think it was just awesome. I mean, he's spamming 400, 500 Zerglings in a 14-minute game and technically won without ever really making anything else other than Lings and Banes, having 3 bases in his main. Yeah. Just a never-ending flood of units. It was awesome to watch. Explosions all over the place. This is going to be very different, obviously. GuMiho does not play like Innovation at all. We'll see where this goes. For now, it seems kind of normal. I mean, he took 2 of the drones off gas. He's building some additional drones at home. That speed is halfway done. But this actually doesn't really work out that well against the build that GuMiho is doing, unless that Reaper just immediately runs to the other side of the map. But Rogue knows. Rogue has vision of the natural. He knows that that command center is done. And he's just going to wait with those links. He wants to make sure the Reaper is not chilling at home when he reveals the fact that he opened up with these Zerglings.
Yeah. I guess it's just playing safe, which is fine. I think the kind of check back against this is Zergs have found himself in a place where obviously there are more economic openings, but even with this, he's not like so far behind. It wasn't like a pseudo all-in, but it didn't do anything, Roddy. Like even these speedlings showing up right now, they just don't do much.
Yep, this is where Rogue really hoped that that Reaper isn't here anymore. Now speed does kick in already, and that means that GuMiho is going to have to micro that Reaper a little bit. A couple of SCVs are going to fall, so he still gets something out of his opening, Jeff. You're spot on. You always want
to fight there though, right? With the SCVs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, maybe he didn't want to open the floodgates. You never know if there's 12 more links in the middle of the map, right? So GuMiho is playing this very safe, obviously kind of painful, but he did open up with the most economic opening there is for Terran. So this is something he can absolutely bounce back from.
I don't know, not to be too nitpicky, but even just running them to the ledge there with the Reapers up on the high ground, that's something more than literally just moving the SCVs where they always die.
Ooh, that's a Roach Warren, Jeff.
Kind of for free, and that is an early Roach Warren. I'm going to be curious to see if this is paired up with a lair, because it is still a third hatch behind that. Now again, GuMiho is one of the most, I don't want to say figured out, because he still does play something that most other players don't do, but you know you're facing mech, you know you're facing probably Cyclones. From there's a few kind of mixtures and differences, of course, and then the late game it gets really weird, as we saw with Cerro, but for the most part, you're not going to face like 8 Marines getting dropped off or a Hellbat timing attack. So I feel like Rogue is, when you look at his choices, you kind of have to look at it through that filter, right?
This is actually kind of funny because this is the first time that GuMiho is going to see anything on this map. He hasn't seen anything on the other side of the map, as the observer is going to show us now as well. This, matter of fact, is his first scout, 4.5 minutes into the game. It's obviously, it would be nice for him if these Hellions can get a little bit of drone damage done, but it's also important that he doesn't throw away too many units, because there is this one building we've seen quite often this week already. It's called the Nidus Network, and if you lose too many of your units early on, there's a very good chance that Rogue is just going to counter with a Nidus.
And there's already Roaches coming out. So, I mean, that is the kind of new world we live in, right? Where maybe if you're not even planning for a Nidus, but they give you something like this, and you're like, are you just making Hellions behind that? Well, I guess I do Nidus, and all of a sudden you go over and end the game.
Well, this is a pretty decent start here for GuMiho. He gets 4, 5, 6 drones immediately.
Oh, getting low there.
Yeah, misclicked a little bit on one of his Hellions, but there is not much in the main base, I believe. At the same time, Rogue is countering, though, with his Zerglings. Picked off the SCV as well. That's very nice, but these Hellions really did quite a bit of damage already.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of drone kills. It's going to be more than 12 here. Medevac going to come in for an attempt at a hot pickup. It does get it.
Wow, but a full-on cancel.
F2s. There is a little bit of an F2 risky.
Yeah, but a full-on cancel. That is nice for Rogue. I mean, losing 14 drones is incredibly painful for a Zerg, but if you can get a real cancel on that command center as well, not just getting the SCV, not just delayed a little bit, no, he canceled it, so...
No, GuMiho's not happy. I believe he...
Was it killed?
Yeah, he lost the medevac.
Can we take a look? Units lost, it should show up. If we do shift... Yeah, okay, so no cancel, Jeff, you're spot on.
Oh, and
it
no
was
cancel on the CC
actually
either.
Killed.
Command center's killed as well, Kevin.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
you're talking about that. No, I'm talking about the medevac, man.
Oh,
two different things.
Yeah.
We got to get together on this, Kevin. It's both. We were both right. So
everything fell apart for GuMiho there.
Yeah, there's so much that went wrong that we had a tough time tracking it all. It's now 90 supply to 77, and it's still more roaches coming out. And that roach speed, this could be that kind of like pseudo max on roaches. I don't think he gets there. It's not going to get that high, but he doesn't have a fourth hatch down. And now Hellions, yes, they get some damage in here again, but he needs to identify what's happening, right? Like, if he stretches out and tries to take that third, remember the 2 tack paths going up that third into the natural? Well, just figure a bunch of roaches running up there. You're dead.
I'm surprised to see GuMiho so upset, because even though, yeah, okay, well, that can obviously make things very complicated, but numbers-wise, this is not that bad yet in this phase in the game. I mean, sure, he lost quite a bit, but he killed so many drones that Liberator is going to have to
it's not that bad. He's just dead.
I mean, yeah, with the Nidus follow-up as well, it's obviously going to be pretty gnarly.
He puts a Nidus in the main. What does the Terran do? Full SCVs?
How is he going to get it in the main with an Overseer? I don't think he has anything close, but he can probably just Nidus outside of the third base and then just get the Queens there to give some extra regeneration to those roaches. Rogue is moving forward with a pretty big army, and the tank count obviously is not that high yet. Where's that Banshee? That Banshee would have been so useful right now.
There it is. He's going to try to do what it can. Tanks are kind of strung out here. It's hard to defend across all that distance. Getting a lot of damage on those roaches, though, and Rogue kind of with a weird anti-timing, if you will, right? Like he's doing a Nidus attack behind this, but he shows up just before that?
I think he just wanted Nidus for the Queens and just attack with the roaches, but you're spot on. I mean, Rogue is pretty damn committed. Now he does get the Overseer into the main base, and GuMiho doesn't see it. Does not see the left corner, the changeling.
Did I make a Marine? I forgot about that Marine. I should get to the front lines. He's going to go Nidus the natural too, I bet, by the way.
This is going to be, obviously they're going to pop up everywhere at once.
He has no idea.
Rogue sacrificed a lot of roaches, but GuMiho now knows that he's in a lot of trouble.
We got the live shot of him realizing he's getting Nidus. Like, what? All right. Well, he does have the Banshee. He's kiting backwards. The problem is this is all inside his main. I love the positioning of that Liberator, though, right? Like, he's going to try to run into the natural right there.
I mean, GuMiho is still handling this quite well.
He's doing all right.
I'm not saying that I love his position, but...
he's dead, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, in a weird way, he's actually doing this quite all right. Still has the bench as well. The Nidus in the natural, like you said, or in the third base, is actually going to unload a lot of these units as well. Cyclone still being microed very well in the main base. Really not too many of them have gone down. The problem is there's just no tanks anywhere.
Yeah. Every SCV that dies here is really, really painful. That being said, though, kind of to your point, the supply is a little deceiving. Like, the main gets clogged up, it's dead. There is a creep tumor in there, so you want to scan to get rid of that. A lot of Ravagers getting made over here at the natural, or excuse me, third.
It's going to be good against a Liberator that's going to siege up somewhere, maybe against one of these tanks that's going to chill somewhere, but the Banshees should be able to start fighting these Queens, right? The Queen count really isn't that high on the side of Rogue. No. Rogue is up 30 supply, but once again, that's a little bit deceiving because he's very, very committed to this attack. He needs to pretty much win the game.
Tanks up there, he can't go up there.
Does he have high ground vision? Where's that Overseer? It went down, right?
He just,
the Marine!
It's a changeling. You've only got a little bit of time. He's going to unzip in just a few moments.
I mean, GuMiho actually handled that so freaking well. He's even counter-attacking a little bit with one Liberator. Should be able to get a couple of drones. Might get the Queen here. Rogue making a mistake, but he does have another Queen behind this. But damn, GuMiho is still in this game.
That is correct, Kevin. He is still... He's right there.
I mean, but look at the upgrades, yeah. Like,
no,
it's not that Rogue is like
a literal joke.
Yeah,
you're saying he's in the game. He is in the game.
Yeah, I mean, not loving it, but definitely not dead. I mean, army-wise,
like you said, the supply is deceiving, right? It's not super equipped to deal with a Cyclone kind of composition. There's not a lot of Cyclones, so that's the part that for right now kind of keeps GuMiho in that dangerous spot for me. He's going to kite back and forth, and he's not doing a whole lot of damage, but he's also not dying as long as they're fighting off creep. The other thing about that kind of Nidus timing attack like that, the creep spread's not super fantastic, right? So even mid-map, GuMiho is safe to go out there and bully around.
Incredibly well micromanaged there by GuMiho. There was a lot of things happening. He's at the same time, we're following a little bit of first person here of GuMiho. That's obviously going to be a little bit hectic, but we can see if he can get something done. We know that he's harassing with Liberators in the main base. He even gets a couple of Hellions in the natural as well. A big lock-on on the hatchery, but at the same time, Rogue set up the flank, and that is a massive victory for Rogue.
I mean, that is terrible. He already had a kind of low Cyclone count, and now it gets fully reset. He kills 15 drones behind this, and normally that'd be a super big deal. But having lost the army, Rogue says, I can drone for 40 if I want to right now. I'm going to be safe.
It's really funny how he just completely forgot about his Banshees. Those Banshees would be so useful if he actually uses them against all the Roaches and the Ravages. There are a couple of tanks on the north side, but there is an Overseer coming in as well.
He's just doing it?
That's going to reveal it. Yeah, now finally, at least the Banshees are going to help out a little bit. Rogue still has to be a little careful because he did just lose a hatchery again as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to lose this army as well. It's just kind of a question of how much cost he can extract. Now getting on top of those tanks as well.
Questionable. Very, very questionable attack by Rogue.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 SCVs, yeah, that's nice to know. But he's been very, very reckless this game.
You know what's kind of funny is because there's so many games we get to watch, kind of learn these players really, really well. Rogue is the kind of player where if he gets ahead, he says, I'm going to go end the game. I'm going to take my army and I'm going to go attack. Maybe I'm going to Nidus or whatever, but I'm going to end the game. Whereas other Zerg players, like a Serral, for instance, gets ahead and says, I add drones, I add an expansion, then I think about attacking. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, because Rogue obviously has won, you know, $500,000 or whatever it is off of the fact he's aggressive. But in this case, Kevin, we could just put GuMiho deeper back into the game.
Yep. The one thing Rogue absolutely does have going for himself is that Hive Tech is done already, and he's been adding Vipers. And we all know that Vipers are an absolute key unit versus any sort of a mech composition. So that's the one thing Rogue really has going for himself. But other than that, he's working with 1-1 Roaches. That's not the scariest thing in the world if you're GuMiho.
Yeah, and if you do look at that production tab, there's a Nidus showing up just outside up there. Yep. Okay, kind of a nice attack path. Here's the original 2 Banshees, by the way. Shout out to those Banshees. Made forever ago. They got for themselves some kills. But
11 and 9, not bad.
Not bad. Could be better if they were remembered earlier.
Yeah, but they're still in there. And they can actually spot some Nidus networks going up as well around the bases of GuMiho, so in that way they can be very useful. Love the way Gumi is using his Cyclones right now. He's shutting down vision of Rogue, making it harder and harder for Nidus to pop up close to his base. And I mean, Rogue is going to make this attack. He did go up to 83 drones, by the way, at this point. So despite the fact that he lost a lot of drones, right now Rogue actually does have a very healthy economy.
And here we go. Some Cyclones getting abducted back. There's still more abductions to go. Armies for both sides not great, but Rogue is the player, as Roddy just pointed out, getting up to 83 drones. There's not much more to do from there.
He's even adding 7 Swarmos in the mix now as well. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
I mean, if the mech player is already pinned to their side of the map, then you can start swarming them with Swarmos as well. You can spawn those locusts very close towards the tanks or the fourth base or even the third base, maybe the natural. You can come in from so many different angles on King's Cove that you just displayed as well, and that illustrated. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much. Trying to follow in your footsteps. One of the kind of things you can indicate for how bad it is for GuMiho, even if the numbers don't look bad as it is, look how passive he's being. That's not the way of GuMiho. This is battle mech style where he wants to be out there, kiting back and forth, pushing creep, fighting army, and exchanging Hellions for gas units. That's kind of what he wants to be doing. He's not comfortable doing that, so he's just kind of securing his fort. He's sitting back. Meanwhile, Rogue's maxed out. He's at the optimal number of drones. He's got the Swarmos coming in, but there's the Spire Rod. He's also planning for that Hive Tech.
Yeah, and this is just painful for GuMiho at this point because he's not close to maxing out, and now he's going to start dropping supply as well. He's going to end up losing a Siege Tank, 1 or 2 Cyclones in the process, maybe a couple of SCVs here and there as well, and this is never going to stop. Rogue is really in his comfort zone at this point. He knows that he can just keep spamming those locusts over and over again. That's free for him and very, very expensive for GuMiho.
And now it's going to have to be a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole, right? The 2 Niduses on either side of the bases of GuMiho are just for those Swarmos to bounce back and forth. This one does get popped down.
That's so cute.
That is cute.
He popped the Spore Crawler next.
Spore Crawler.
Yeah, next to the Nidus. Keeps it safe against those 2 Banshees.
It's going to be a complete waste, but it's still a cute idea. I do like it. Well, here comes the army, and now with those swarm hosts, if they want to get offensive on this planetary fortress, that's going to be great. Tanks can turn against you a little bit. And they do jump down just now. A little bit shy, though, so I think the tanks are going to thin out their counts pretty okay. There's some abductions. Give me those cyclones. Give me that tank. And the army of GuMiho continues to get a little bit thinner, but there's actually the main force. And I do like this. He's being aggressive with it, Roddy.
Yep, I like that he didn't bring everything back. Rogue knew a lot of these units were out of position. He's just going to get right on top of all of these swarm hosts, by the way. 4 or 5 of them went down here. The Vipers are going to chase this down, but they already used a lot of their abducts on the other side of the map. So these Vipers don't have crazy energy at this point.
No natural anti-air with the army. So it's the Queens that come out to get the creeps. So they will chase back these Banshees at this point in time. The other reason I point that out is the medevacs get away, so even if you abduct the medevacs with units inside of them trying to be saved, who cares? There's no Queens, there's no Hydras, they will survive. And now we have another engagement here out on this creep again. And this is the kind of skirmish style that GuMiho wants. He wants you to continue to replenish your roach count, he wants you to be losing swarm hosts, and focused on this. The game simplifies for GuMiho as he takes 6 o'clock below this, by the way. The problem here is we are getting towards that Spire tech, and for right now, GuMiho has 0 answer. I'm not sure what his starport production is.
That was a bad engagement by Rogue. That was way too many Cyclones to get this close on. I mean, yeah, Rogue is quite rich, but 1700 gas, you can actually burn through that very, very quickly. Is the greatest Spire done? I know he has a Spire, but did he ever upgrade it? It was in the back of...
That's +1 air tech right there.
Wow.
About to finish.
Okay. What do you think about that? I think that's so odd.
I would have gone straight to Greater Spire, yeah, right? Like, I think that showing up right now would be a real big deal. It's not like Rogue doesn't have money. He's at 3 pushing 4,000 and 2,000 gas, and he is maxed out, so where do you go from here? He's adding more evolution chambers. I think those are actually so that he can drain them of their life. No, he's adding other ones.
Yeah, probably somewhere in the middle of the map. Yep, that's good for the Vipers. Can get some of the extra energy, but Rogue's gonna have to be careful. GuMiho is maxed out, Jeff. Did we think he was gonna max out 9-10 minutes ago?
No.
It really didn't look like it at one point.
Well, here's the whole army.
The one problem still for GuMiho, I do feel, is that he's still on kind of the basic mech army, right? And eventually you want to get something a little scarier. That orbital took a lot of damage, but it almost felt like he used it as a bait. Once again, all of these Cyclones just lock on these roaches, and a lot of them will pop. And yes, guys, Rogue is rich, but 2,000 gas is actually not that much. You can burn through that incredibly quickly if you take a horrific fight, if you make 4 or 5 Vipers, and then you add a few more units before you know it, it's gone.
I actually think we might be seeing a Muta switch.
Yeah, because
so he keeps replenishing on roaches. The Spire is going for +2 attack.
There are no
I want to say one of these reloads is going to be like 30 Mutas.
Yep. But I would like that a little more if he's still higher on gas. Like 24 Mutas is very scary, but with all the Cyclones, a couple Vikings in the mix as well while this big fight is going on. I mean, look at GuMiho. He's kind of crushing these engagements. Where are those Mutas, Rogue? If you want to make them, you better make them quick. He's for now going to remax on 30 more Roaches, who do have 3-3 upgrades, and a couple of these Locusts come in from the north side as well. But Rogue is in trouble, Jeff.
Yes, he is. The Hellbat's so good right there. They actually just eat up all the Locusts, and now he's on top of these bases. He stopped the expansion. He's crushing that one. And there are the swarm hosts. So yeah, I'll go ahead and take those off your hands as well. It's just more roaches showing up. So this army has already extracted such a toll, it can just kind of back up if it wants to. Or it could just win the fight.
And it's so hard if you don't really have all units in the right place to actually get close to these Cyclones. That was a nice blinding cloud. It kind of pushed the Cyclones forward, which allowed these roaches to actually get very close. And now GuMiho is finally forced to disengage.
Oh,
but look at those Vikings going crazy on those Vipers as well. And that Muta switch that Rogue was planning, I mean, of what money at this point?
Yeah, GuMiho really wanting to drag this one back. What I do like for Rogue, though, expanding behind this. Despite all of this loss and damage, he's making more drones, he's expanding. One bad fight for GuMiho, he loses that Cyclone clump, and it's over. His map control's gone, and he'll just get drowned in bodies. Rogue is going to come over here behind this army, and he can load up in medevacs and get out of here.
That's actually really well done.
Exactly what he'll do. That's nice.
I would like to see a couple parasitic bombs from Rogue every now and then to take care of those medevacs. Or
something.
Do a lot of damage on it.
Yeah, there's 4 more Vipers coming out, Roddy, so you ask and you will receive. That's not.
Might get a couple SUVs.
Quite the migration here. They're like, let's
Hey,
go.
that's not a planetary, so it might get a few more. But there are Cyclones and Vikings that will take care of this. Maybe one siege tank goes down, and then maybe a handful of SUVs.
Yeah. Yep. The Great Locust migration. All right, GuMiho again, nearly maxed out here. He's pushing across the map. He's got that army up and at it just again. He has a bank behind this as well. We haven't really talked a little bit about that.
I hate this for Rogue, man. I'm really starting to hate this for Rogue. He's losing bases. The bank of Rogue is pretty much gone. These are not the numbers he needs to get on top of these Cyclones. Where are those Vipers?
And now Liberators as well.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it. He says, you have Liberators? I'm out of here. Well done by GuMiho to get that game back into that position. I do have to say, not that I want to make too much of a deal about this, but good job by GuMiho. Questionable by Rogue. Just keep remaxing on roaches. And also, we go back to that moment where he does that beautiful surround on all the army of GuMiho, kills it, turns around, runs up a ramp into 4 tanks and whatever's being rallied off the factories. I think that was a weird turning point where he thought the game was over, but he was only on 3 or 4 bases behind that, loses his own army, and then has to keep making roaches forever.
And he was only ever up 30-40 supply, which is not the amount of supply you want to be up if you're making nothing but roaches. And it goes back to that very first Nidus attack that you mentioned as well, where, we thought the game could end here, but it was a very disorganized attack, right? It was like 4 or 5 roaches at first, then he sent a few more roaches up the north side. They got picked off as well. And then the Niduses suddenly start popping, while he already dropped 12, 14 roaches before it even really began. All kudos to GuMiho, though. He did a phenomenal job in microing not 1, but on 2 or 3 locations pretty damn well. The Liberator keeping that 1 base safe for as long as it did. The Banshees helping out quite a bit. The Cyclones in the main base did a phenomenal job. But it doesn't happen often that you see a Zerg that's on 5 or even 6 hatcheries at a certain point in the game, is maxed out, has, let's say, 3,000 minerals, 2,000 gas, plus 2 flyer attacks, and we didn't see a single air unit. I mean, yeah, you got to be critical of that kind of decision-making, because there clearly was a plan for Rogue, but I think he kind of panicked when GuMiho suddenly counterattacked when he didn't expect it. And he's like, okay, I need more roaches. And then he got stuck in this mode where he basically never stopped producing them, even though that was not his initial plan.
You're going to want to see a thread on Reddit about Rogue not playing well in game number 1 of GuMiho versus Rogue.
Well, that's already all over the front page. Everybody's not playing well. Besides Sero.
Sero's playing great, yeah.
Sero's playing
we can all agree on that. He played okay. Well, hey, mission number 1 for Mr. GuMiho is accomplished. He has to complete the sweep here to give himself a chance to move on. We don't know the results of the other games right now. Maybe you guys do. It's been kept up wonderfully by our production. We're focused on this game here. Roddy's going to check real quick just to keep us updated on this.
See, we have a quick update. Nope. It says it's still 0-0 between Ragnarok and Sola, but we could be wrong. Now, even if GuMiho does take this series 2-0, guys, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean he advances for sure, but that's the only way he still has a chance. Rogue right now doesn't have things in his own hand anymore. It's obviously very, very important he takes the series 2-1, but even then, he's not guaranteed. Anyway, he's on the left top side. It is a must-win game for our reigning champion of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. It is Rogue.
Please survive,
Rogue, please survive.
Lower right-hand side, the red towel Terran himself. It's Mr. GuMiho.
Underrated moment from yesterday. Underrated.
I see your sign. I'm going to need a tier 3 sub out of you, friend.
What did it say?
He's asking for some pictures.
Ah.
Yeah. All right. We get into Port Alexander here. What do you think for this one, Roddy? I mean, obviously it's Battle Mech from GuMiho. I'm not going to do the caster thing where do you think he does mech? Yes, he does. But how does it fit on this map? And what do you think Rogue can do to adjust?
The funny thing is, I think GuMiho looked fantastic against Sero on this map. I think the opening was phenomenal. Did a great job in pushing all the creep back. The Hellions were successful, and the Banshees were very successful. Even up to the point where, the Zerg is like, oh, we lost a bunch of drones, so you remake 8, 9, 10 drones at once, and there's 3 Banshees right on top of all those eggs. The drones spawn, they get picked off as well. So I think whatever GuMiho tried to do against Sero, I think we're going to see pretty much the same thing. We're going to see a lot of Banshees, maybe speed Banshees as well. He does seem to like it on this map.
Yeah.
Obviously, this map is a little bit smaller than King's Cove, so maybe that's why he's not going for that command center first. But yeah, Rogue's got to be kicking himself a little bit, because things were going well for him from time to time in that previous game, and it slipped away again. And suddenly, things start looking very dicey for our reigning champ.
Yeah. And there is no SCV to block this, so the third will go down at the slightly better spot, I would say, if you are facing those Banshees. But I like what Roddy was saying about Banshees. If you can kind of take a look at the main base, there's just a lot of area to get in on that. And then there is space behind the natural in third, and there's just all kinds of airspace for those Banshees to move around and do the damage. that they can do. But a different opening for Rogue this time. Not going to be too cheeky with some Ling sneaking around and getting speed. This is the standard opening. Maybe a slightly faster third than what some people are accustomed to, but only slightly.
Man, I mean, Maru not making it out of the groups yesterday was a massive upset, obviously, for almost all of us. But if Rogue also doesn't make it out of the group, Jeff, I mean, that's probably the last person I would have predicted not to make it out of the group.
Yeah.
That is a very, very fast lair, guys. They don't come much faster than that.
Queen Ling Nidus, my friend. Overlord's in position.
Wouldn't you like some roaches against Terran?
Especially if you think the Terran is apt to go Banshee. If they could do a Banshee opening, sure, why not?
There's a Viking on the way as well for GuMiho. That could be very nice. But this, I must say, this Overlord that's between the main base and the natural. Who's ever going to find this Overlord? Like, I would find the other one. You know, on the left corner, left bottom of your main. That one is kind of predictable. I think you're spot on with the Link Queen because there's still no Roach one.
Kevin.
Is Rogue really putting it all on the line with a Nidus?
Yeah, but it's just so fast. Like even when the Viking pops out.
Or maybe, what if he just goes for
Look where it's rallied.
What if he goes for a super quick Spire?
No, it's going to be Nidus, man.
No, he's making
Have you watched any StarCraft in the last 2 weeks?
He's making more links.
He's going to lose his army over here, too.
Wow, that's a pretty good focus fight there by GuMiho. A couple of these Hellions still alive. He's going to start working on drones, but he already spots like, hey, that's a few less drones than I would normally expect to see there. He's going to see that the lair has finished up already as well. That's so many drones. Not just the 7 drones that went down, but all of the initial links that went down as well. Nidusing of 24 drones. Oh my goodness, Rogue. This is it, man. If Rogue loses O2 here, he's done.
He killed that Overlord. What's the view?
They're both still alive.
Oh, God. Is that a bunker being made?
No, that's an armory.
Never in time.
And he's making more.
Oh, he's attacking it now. It just needs vision, though. There's nothing actually to kill the Nidus.
I feel like this is the distraction Overlord, though. I feel like the other one is the one that you don't expect.
You're right.
Oh, where is he going? But the Nidus is going to finish up. It's already being built right now in the main base. But the Hellions are being brought home. Hellions and SCVs.
Oh
is that enough DPS? There's going to be a Liberator that's going to siege up on top of this Nidus network as well.
Right on top, though. That's where the Queens are going to pop out in. Here we go. The Nidus does finish. It's getting transfused. The Queens come out. They're focusing down the Liberator. It dies almost immediately. Lings just simply run in, and they're getting a surround. The Hellions are surviving for the moment.
So many Hellions, though, Jeff. I mean, I don't think that's enough Zergling. Sure, the Lings and Queens got out.
GuMiho.
I think you gotta go home, save the Queens, Rogue. There's no point in losing all of them. Why would you just lose them like that?
Actually is going to lose absolutely everything. What else is getting in that Nidus? If you look at the production tab,
nothing.
There's drones coming out. Rogue was down to 24 workers now. It's fair to point out, GuMiho is down to 15 SCVs.
And it's only 2 command centers as well.
This does not have a third orbital, so it's not mass mules coming out.
I would have liked it. I still like it for Rogue, I think, in the end. I think he just did barely enough economic damage to justify this, but I would have loved it a lot more if he would have saved those 2 Queens.
GuMiho thinks he's dead.
Yeah, but GuMiho thought he was dead in the previous game as well. And he wasn't.
That's true. But
a lot of the guys have been very emotional in the middle of their games.
I love it.
Yeah.
And hey, shout out to the camera people, by the way, catching these emotions. They're doing a great job. IEM Katowice is not disappointing. We're getting some amazing games, a lot of emotions flying around. I think about Creator, by the way, one of the most emotional players. He was showing all that. Ling's kind of sharking around outside out there. There's more drones coming out.
Support.
This is part of the problem, though, when you fall behind economically with a Zerg, and if you don't have 3 orbitals to just really throw out the mules, the explosive production of Zerg, I mean, look at this. He's about to double them in drones if this keeps going that way.
Yep, and there are still quite a few Queens out there. I mean, more Queens being sent to the main base now as well to keep that middle line safe. And don't forget that Rogue can always decide to Nidus again.
But he brings the Queens up there.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest part about this. The Banshee chases up here the Queens.
Yeah, in the end, he sent it to the south side, but Rogue actually didn't know that. Rogue expected it to go to the main. The Banshee does live for now. But I mean, you mentioned the work account. Can GuMiho strike back? This is a very exposed mineral line. There are barely any Zerglings out, I believe.
But it's also the least saturated.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's very nice. He's bringing over the other 3 aliens as well. Now I actually think there is a chance for GuMiho to do some very serious work and damage. The Queens, the one with the most energy, gets picked off immediately. No save there by Rogue.
Well, hang on here. GuMiho up in supplies, pushing forward to the Hellbats.
Is it?
He thought he was dead. Is he actually dead? He's going to push into that natural. Liberator goes down as well. It does get spotted, but it's going to do some damage. And these Queens, they just don't have the DPS. They're just not doing that much to stop this. He's walking up the ramp, not focusing down the medevac, so it's still remaining there to heal. And the Queens are losing the fight.
Yep, and they're going to have to go off-creep there as well for a split second, so they'll be even slower. The Liberator shows up now in the natural as well.
Wait a second, what's happening? Rogue is going to lose that Queen as well. More Hellions are showing up. They can turn into Hellbats as well. The main base is under siege. The Queens are gone. I think this is it, actually. GuMiho's about to actually 2-0 Rogue here. That's it. The drones are dead. 18 are gone. More about to die. They're actually fighting against Hellions and Hellbats. That's not something you ever want to see.
Wow, that's it.
Lings in production. That's it. GuMiho does the 2-0s Rogue. Wow.
That means Rogue is out. That means Rogue, the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters 2018, has now been eliminated in the groups as well. And GuMiho does what he had to do to keep his tournament dreams alive. Can you believe what we just saw, Jeff?
No.
What? What was that series?
I mean, we literally saw the